As I drifted off, I felt something alive and big moving on my body. I was in bed trying to convince myself that it was all in my head. I used to live alone in a building that had an abandoned apartment on the floor beneath. I never cared about it, and my life was calm and stable. I never believed in ghosts or paranormal activities, thinking that those stories came out of people's imagination or illusions. I used to go to bed at midnight and turn on music before falling asleep. But one night, everything changed. At midnight, I went to bed as usual. But around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps outside my bedroom. I got up and went out to check what I heard, but I found nothing there. Everything was calm and quiet. I went back to my room and started to fall asleep again. But after a while, the footsteps started again. This time, I did not pay attention and convinced myself that it was the sound of the wind hitting some window or just my own imagination. On the following night, the footstep sound continued, and I remained calm about it, but it seemed that the footsteps got closer. On the following 3 nights, I continued to go to bed at the usual time and turn on music, but every night the footsteps were getting closer and louder. One night I decided to investigate the source of the footsteps. I followed the sound and found myself in front of the abandoned apartment on the floor beneath. The door was slightly open, and I could hear the footsteps coming from inside. I hesitated for a moment, but my curiosity got the better of me, and I pushed the door open. What I saw inside made my blood run cold. There was a figure standing in the middle of the room, facing away from me. It was tall and thin, with long arms and legs. Its head was turned to the side, and I could see a pair of glowing eyes staring at me. I turned around and ran out of the apartment, slamming the door shut behind me. The 4th night started differently. The footsteps outside the bedroom had stopped, and I finally felt like I could sleep peacefully. But that peace was short-lived. As I drifted off, I felt something alive and big moving on my body. I was in bed trying to convince myself that it was all in my head when I heard a female voice whisper my name into my ear.
Jason.
I jumped out of bed in fear and ran out of my bedroom. I was too scared to stay in my apartment, so I spent the night in my car. The next day, I knew I needed help. I reached out to a man who practiced paranormal activities, hoping he could help me. He listened to my story but didn't say a word. I was depressed and spent my nights sleeping on the sofa. 3 days later, I received a message from the man. It said, "Who has used to visit you won't come back." The things in my apartment returned to normal, but I was still horrified. I left that apartment and moved to a new one, but the memory of that terrifying experience stayed with me forever.